You are watching Soleful Discussions.
So hello, hi, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. How did we just meet right now?
I'm on a walk and you just asked if you could interview me.
Okay, exactly.
And I took out my AirPods and said yes.
Okay, cool. And so what did I tell you the interview was going to be about? What are we talking about today? 3 topics.
Feet,
Uh-huh.
social media, and
Close, yeah, you're close. One more.
reflexology, which
You
I don't
got
know.
that.
I don't
You
know
got
what
that.
is.
Cool. So yeah, we're going to talk about your thoughts about feet. In terms of like social media, like the impacts it can have on depression and anxiety. So we'll talk about that. And then reflexology. So in terms of when you heard feet, thoughts that went through your mind, what did you think about immediately?
Fetishes.
Fetishes. Okay, cool. I'm glad you said that because we're going to talk about some things and
Oh,
we'll see how
man.
you feel. No. Not in that way, but we're going to talk about that in terms of like why you feel like that, okay? So in terms of mental health, right? When we hear that, we talk about social media and impacts it can have on depression and anxiety. What are your thoughts there? You guys are good. Don't worry. Yeah. You're good.
Thoughts about like what you're gonna ask me?
Yeah, just in general, like what are your thoughts about like that concept?
Oh, I think it's a real thing.
Okay.
That's getting worse and
Okay.
worse. But yeah.
Cool. So we're gonna ask some questions about your thoughts about that, and you can just feel free to like let me know, okay? Reflexology, you said you're not familiar with it. I bet you are.
Maybe I just don't know the term.
You don't know the term yet, so
Yeah.
we'll talk about it, and you can tell me what your thoughts are
right.
once you hear about it, okay? So let's start with the first question, okay? What are your thoughts about how the world's starting to become more aware of mental health and what we're doing about it?
I feel like the world's been aware of mental health for a while. I don't think it's like a new thing.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's great. What specifically are you talking about?
Just in general. So, because like, I feel like if a lot of people I've talked to like 15 to 20 years ago, if somebody like expressed that they like deal with anxiety or they deal with depression, right? Some people would like kind of shrug it off and just be like, oh no, you just need to work your way through it, right? I feel like now, like if you kind of say that, people like kind of look at it a little bit more serious, like, oh, okay, like we need to see if we can get you some help or let's talk about it, right? So that's what I'm kind of asking, like in terms of that. Do you think it's a positive thing, a negative thing, or?
Yeah, actually, I think it's a positive thing, and that kind of sparked me to like think about how, I don't know if you've seen things about ADHD.
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
more popular, but I feel like that's kind of a newer thing that wasn't as popular, because I have that.
Oh, okay.
And so like growing up, I never really like not understood it, but like there was just not much topic about it. But I feel like that's a recent thing that.
So you're saying like certain things that maybe you didn't recognize it as being that, right?
Yeah.
So now that you kind of like see these different things, you're like, oh wow, like I do all those things, right?
Yeah.
My girlfriend's the same way. Like a lot of the stuff that she's watched like on TikTok where they talk about like, I think she was mentioning like leaving the cabinet door open or like doing this or like forgetting to like, you go to the store, you've been given 3 things to get, you forget one of them because you see something else, like all of those are signs.
Today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I definitely get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
In terms of social media, right? What are your thoughts about it, and then how do you use it yourself?
I think it started off good, but now I'm kind of fading myself off of it.
Okay.
Because I just feel like it's too much, honestly, and I recently got on TikTok.
Okay, yeah, that's everybody pretty much.
No, I was a hater, but I recently got on it. And even that, I feel like it's kind of changing too. Of like, it's this false reality of like everything. And I feel like all apps are just, it's besides Twitter.
Yeah, besides Twitter. Yeah, a lot of people like Twitter.
Yeah, but I feel like, I mean, it's mostly like Instagram. And TikTok. That I feel like create these false realities for people. And yeah, it's just not real life. So I've been doing walks like this to try to
lovely,
like become more in tune with detaching from social media.
That's great, man. I like that. In terms of social media, right? If there was one thing you could change, somebody came to you, said, hey, change whatever you want about social media, what would you change?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
To change something about
and let me ask you this. So I'll ask you this as a follow-up to kind of maybe help you out a little bit, right? Do you feel like something needs to change like in the different apps, or is it the people that need like more awareness as to like what they post and like learning about the correct way, like what can like have an actual impact on somebody? Like, is that what you would consider?
That's a good point. I feel like for the older generation that's kind of been on not older generation, like older people, but like us, I guess, who have had more experience with it. I don't think there's anything really to change, but like maybe like you were saying for like the younger kids, probably more awareness about that, because nowadays they're like growing up on that, and I feel like it's bad for us, but I can't imagine like the effects that it's gonna have on the younger kids.
Yeah, down the road, absolutely.
Yeah, so probably that.
Okay, cool. So in terms of anxiety, right? What are some things that bring you anxiety? And you don't have to go too in depth, just maybe more surface level. What are some things?
In terms of social media?
No, just in general, like in life. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about social media, what does bring me anxiety with that is like anytime I post something, it's just extreme anxiety. Like, like a story, even if it's a picture of like the beach, I'll just get like extreme anxiety about it. I'll take like 5 different pictures. I'm like, is this the one?
Wow, is this the one that everybody's gonna like?
Or like even just I never really post anything either, because that's even worse. But I have anxiety about that.
But that's good that you kind of recognize it, and I guess like what you're saying, like in terms of taking your walks, to kind of maybe clear that mental space and where you think like that, to like kind of make it more of a positive thing. So, wow, that's interesting. I like that though, like the fact that you're like, you know what it is and you can own up to it. That's great.
I think a lot of people have the same. Girls specifically. I think.
Yeah, girls like, you want the perfect shot. Like, I need the perfect shot. I need to like make sure. So when you experience that, right, when you start to feel those anxious feelings coming on, right, what are some things you do to like counteract that, to like make sure like you don't feel it?
Well, with that example I just gave, it's kind of just like
taking all the pictures.
You either post it or you don't. But with like other things that give me anxiety, what do I do to counter it?
Yeah, counteract that.
I mean, I'm kind of relating that to like when I'm stressed.
Okay.
So, it's kind of lame, but I've been listening to this podcast.
Okay.
It's called the Huberman podcast, and he like talks about what to do when you're stressed, and it's a lot of different breathing stuff.
I think that's like, great, man.
Walks, you know, and I try to like work out.
Yeah, I think
just
that
things to like get my body going.
Yeah, because here's the thing, right? I think that those are great because it's like distractions, right?
Yeah. And
like if you're doing something and you're not thinking about like something else over here, so I think that those are actually good. Yeah. So let's get into these questions now. I'm gonna be intrigued to see how you feel about these. Okay.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about your feet? How do you feel about your feet?
So recently I've come to the realization that my big toe and my second toe are like kind of like weirdly spaced apart from the rest. So I have like a little gap. So I always liked my feet, but now I'm like, oh shit, I have a gap.
Oh wow! So you're like looking up like that, like I have a gap here. Like, is that
because someone pointed it out one time and I couldn't stop thinking about it.
So I can kind of see where you felt, but in terms of that, like let's say that's not there, or we're not thinking about that. Do you like them? You don't like them? You're indifferent?
I mean, I like them.
Okay, cool. Have you ever received compliments? And besides somebody pointing out a gap, have you ever received compliments about your feet before?
Not specifically.
Okay, so not specifically. Okay, if you were wearing sandals, somebody complimented you about that, how would it make you feel? Would it be something that you're okay with?
Like a stranger complimenting me?
Anybody, like maybe somebody you know, stranger. Let's hit both. How would you feel?
And it's just my feet, like not my nail polish or anything.
They're complimenting you, saying, "Hey, you have nice feet," right? How would you feel?
A little weird.
A little weird. Okay.
Because that's just not a normal compliment, I feel like.
Okay. I'm glad that you're being honest. So let me ask you this, right? As a follow-up. If they compliment you on, let's say, your smile, your eyes, your hair, that'd be different? Would you feel differently about that?
Yes.
So why?
I think it's because people fetishize feet. So it's like if someone's saying that, it's like, all right, you got a foot fetish here.
Okay, so let me ask you this, right? Because, first of all, I don't know if you know this, right? There are people who are into hair, into eyes, hands, different parts, right? So you said that a compliment about that wouldn't feel different, but you also wouldn't know what they meant by saying it, but you would feel differently about it. Only because those are more normal compliments, right? More common compliments.
Yeah.
So hearing about feet is not common, but because you like you said, you connected with being like a fetish. If somebody mentions it, oh, they got a fetish. Why is that? Because maybe they don't. Maybe they just like, they saw your feet and they were just like, oh, hey, you have nice feet. Like,
because I've never looked at someone's feet and been like, that's a nice foot.
Okay, but like, we're all different, right? We're all created to be different.
I'm not going to judge.
No.
Just like...
I'm glad that you know, but I'm glad you're talking about it, because so my channel is, and we're going to dig in a little more deeper into it. My channel is all about normalizing the conversation, right? Because I feel like there are things in life that sometimes we'll look at because we don't like it or we don't do it. We're like, oh, that's weird. That's odd. Right? But why is that, right? Because like we're all different, we're all created differently, so we should be able to like what we want without judgment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
cool perspective. Exactly.
So that's kind of what I'm doing. So but we'll get a little bit deeper into that, okay? In terms of compliments you do receive, what would you prefer to get a compliment about? Like if somebody's gonna compliment you.
Like on a specific body part?
No. In general. Just it could be about an intangible, like something that's like your personality, or what would you prefer for somebody to compliment you? But like what makes you feel good? Like somebody says, hey man, like I like that you do this, or you're great at doing this. What makes you feel good in those moments?
Probably a compliment about my energy.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Like, okay, I vibe with you, or like.
Yeah. You seem to have like a pretty laid back and like nice, pleasant personality. I feel like you have like a warm personality. In terms of what I've experienced so far, like you seem to be like
Thank
that.
you.
I don't know if that's like what you usually get, but you do feel like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. In terms of things that, like, let's say you're dating somebody or you're going to start dating somebody, right? What is something you would consider to be a potential deal breaker, or something you'd be like, I can't deal with that? Like,
a deal breaker. There's a lot.
Oh, it's okay, and you can name off as many as you want, but just like I want to know, like, what are some things that you feel like I'm not dealing with that?
Deal breakers. Well, I would say one where it's like I'm in a relationship with the entire family.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a big one.
Just got over one of those.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, that one was kind of my deal breaker. I don't know how many you want me to list off.
No, as many as you want. Like as many as you feel comfortable with. You can name off as many as you want.
I would say, I mean, it's like basic stuff, but like, you know, good communication and ways to like be receptive to feedback.
Okay. Yeah.
About
you don't want somebody who's like going to look at things like negatively or like respond negatively if you're trying to tell them something that's helpful, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. How often do you get pedicures?
Pedicures? I haven't gotten a pedicure in a while.
Okay.
But I would get them maybe like once a month.
So when you used to get them, did you get gel or gel? It lasts longer, right?
Yes.
In terms of pedicures, have you ever heard of a medical pedicure before?
No.
All right, so that's when you go see a podiatrist, right? Specialist of the foot. They'll take a look at your feet to make sure your nails grow correctly, your toe alignment's right. They'll check like for dead skin, fungus. They do all the work there with medical grade equipment. What would your thoughts be on seeing somebody like that as opposed to like going to cosmetic pedicures?
Say that again. They check
for like your toenails to make sure that they grow correctly, because not everybody knows the right way that everybody's
they still
toenails
like paint and do everything.
So they use clear coats. They don't like do any like colors or anything like that, but they'll do a clear coat. But they're basically for like giving you more of an inside look as to like what your feet say. Like if they're like if you're have some good things going on there, if you have some negative things, and they can help you out with that from a medical standpoint. As opposed to like when you just go get cosmetic ones, it's really just to paint your toenails, remove calluses and things like that. But they can do all that and give you information. What would your thoughts be on seeing somebody like that?
I probably wouldn't go because I've never really like worried about my feet medically.
Well, that's not true, because you just you worried about the
medically.
Okay, but like, what if they could tell you like why that happens or why that's there?
Okay, well maybe I would go once.
Okay.
Just to like see it, but I wouldn't see myself going like. Okay. I mean, nothing against them. I just
no. But these are
again. I say everything. Nothing against.
You don't need to say, because like these are your opinions. This is how you feel, right?
Yeah,
and that's what I want. But it's almost like going to a dentist, right? You go to a dentist, they can tell you like things that they see that are happening there. So podiatrists are the same way. They can tell you things about like your feet that may be happening. Sometimes people have like diabetes, or they have something that's happening there that they may not know, and they can help you out with that. So that's from that aspect. Yeah.
That's cool.
Exactly. In terms of shoes, right? How often do you wear open-toe shoes, sandals, flip-flops, things like that?
So like for work, I don't wear the open-toed shoes.
Yeah, you gotta wear
but I would say in the summertime,
okay,
if I'm like not working or after work or going on walks pretty often. I love flip-flops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's California, 70-degree weather, like, you know, so exactly. How often do you go barefoot without shoes?
In public?
In general, just like together, like if you could like quantify it in like amount, like a time.
Not that often, because even in my house I have Crocs. So.
Really? Okay. So now let me ask you this: have you ever heard of earthing and grounding before? All right, so that's when you go like barefoot in grass, dirt, or sand. It's supposed to be something that like allows you to feel at one with nature, like makes you like clear unlike mind space that like may be like clogged up, right? So the way that someone described it to me was like you're not born into the world with like shoes or socks, anything like that, right? And some of your like funnest times as a kid was probably like going out, running outside without shoes on, and like just feeling free, right? Doing that like once a day for maybe about 10 to 15 minutes can like actually allow you to feel that same type of feeling of freedom, like just doing that. So like maybe if you're stressed out, things like that, just kind of standing in some grass and just like allowing yourself to like ground in earth to give you that feeling. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm not opposed.
Okay. So it'd be something that maybe you would try, but
I feel like if I had a house,
okay,
then like I would do it in my own yard. But I don't know about like public.
I see. Well, yeah, because I mean, like you know, you got to worry about like, especially I've heard this a lot. Do people's dogs pee in the grass, or they like poop into the grass? Like different things like that. Maybe things that make you feel like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do that. So I definitely get where you're coming from with that. All right. So now, can we see what your feet look like?
Okay.
All right, cool. All right.
Oh man.
And let me get you. It's all good. It's all good. Let me get you to take just your shoes off right now. Leave your socks on. Put them up here. She's like.
For how long?
But we'll go through that. But this is part of the process. We're gonna walk you through this.
Oh my gosh. I just said I haven't had a pedicure.
It's okay. Don't worry about that. Leave your socks on. Just put your feet up here. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And put them down flat. All right.
Oh my.
It's all good. Don't worry like you're worried right now. So, and we're going to talk about this because this is part of the mental health, all right?
Okay.
So, cool. All right, take your socks off now, okay?
Okay.
And then, what size shoe do you wear, first of all?
8.
Size 8. Does it vary depending on the type of shoe you wear? Like if it's a sandal, if it's a heel, something like that?
Not really.
Okay, so put your feet back up here.
Kind of
lay them down flat.
Oh, man.
All right, so first of all, let me tell you this. I don't see a space in between your toes. A slight one, if anything, right? Feet look nice. You have great toe alignment, it looks like. And your toes go from big to small, right?
Yeah.
So your alignment is great. You have what's called the Egyptian toe alignment, right?
Okay.
So if your second toe is bigger, it would be Grecian, but this is Egyptian.
All
okay.
Right.
Cool. Let me get you to extend your feet out. Let's see the bottoms. All right.
They're dirty.
They are not dirty. Like relax. All right. So first of all, let me ask you this, right?
Okay.
What are your thoughts right now? Because like you kind of seem like you feel a little uncomfortable, right?
Definitely.
And I'm guessing because this isn't something that's normal. It's probably never happened to you before, right?
No.
But how are you dealing with it? How are you coping with it?
Through laughter.
Through laughter, okay. And laughter is something that's supposed to make us like feel better, right? It's good for the soul, right?
Yeah.
So let me tell you about my channel and why I got started in this. Here's the mental health side of it, okay?
Okay.
So first of all, during quarantine, I was watching another guy's channel, right? He was talking about exposure therapy. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
So basically, like when you feel uncomfortable in certain situations, like putting yourself out there, despite the way you may feel, right? You may feel uncomfortable with it, but putting yourself out there to see if there's like a positive outcome that may come from it, right? So therapists usually prescribe for people who feel like that, right? If you're somebody who's afraid of approaching strangers, right? Go out and approach strangers. Do it over and over again, right? Get used to the uncomfortable feelings that come along with that, right? When you start to feel uncomfortable, like, and you feel like, you're not sure what's going to happen, ask yourself, like, what's the worst that's going to happen to me in this situation, right? If there's not anything threatening my life or my safety, like, what am I worried about, right? Mm-hmm. So that you can, like, experience life to its fullest. But you don't have to worry about, like, dealing with, like, situations that you may overthink, right? Yeah. So in the past, I was somebody who would, like, always... I get presented with a situation whether it was like approaching a pretty girl, right? Mm-hmm. To ask her, like, hey, ask her out, right? And I think in my mind, like, oh, she might say no. She may have a boyfriend. But in reality, I don't actually know until like I actually go through with it, right? Mm-hmm. So when I heard about this, I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. Let me tie that together with the subject of feet. Because people feel uncomfortable about it. A lot of people have negative connotations. They like feel like it's weird or whatever like that. And so I wanted to tie those two together to normalize the conversation around it so that people don't have to feel like if they say like to a friend or something like that, hey, I like feet, you don't have to feel like they're gonna be judged or people are gonna look at them weird or anything like that, right? So that's what my channel is all about, creating positivity behind it, challenging like the women who I go out and interview to see if they can be comfortable. All right, what are your thoughts about that? How do you feel about that? Because we're doing exposure therapy right now.
Yeah, it's definitely different, and you're only about feet.
Yeah, so we talk about this. So this is what my channel is about, because like I was somebody who like, I like feet. So like, right, in the past, like expressing that to somebody who I might like was something that was hard for me to do. So like now it's a little bit easier. Like my girlfriend was somebody who was like able to help me out with that. Like in terms of like when we first met, she asked me, what are you into? And for a second there, I had a thought about like, oh, I'm not going to tell her I'm into this because she may think I'm weird. But I was able to express it, and she was like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Like there's worse things to be into, right? There's way worse things in the world to be into. So my channel is all about trying to create positivity for people who may feel the same way so that they can express that. And an example of that, right, is a guy who watches my channel. He was dating a girl for 2 years. Never disclosed to her that he liked feet. And he finally like built up the courage and was like, okay, I'm going to tell her, like, we've been together for 2 years. She should be fine with this, right? He expresses it to her and she completely just was like, nope, don't want anything to do with you. And so when I heard about that, I was like, man, that's pretty messed up, because now he doesn't have the confidence to say that to anybody. He's like, he thinks that that's going to happen continuously, right? Yeah. So my channel is all about trying to build the confidence for people who may feel that way so they can express it freely without judgment, anything like that. So what are your thoughts about that?
That's so, yeah, I think that's awesome. Empowering those fellow feet.
There it is. And so like through interactions like with different women, I'm able to show like, not all women feel that way. Some women can be comfortable. Yeah. Some women can like, especially if you approach it in the right way, and as long as you're not being like creepy about it or anything like that, you may get a positive outcome just by being honest and like being upfront. So that's what it's all about. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about reflexology. Let me get you to put your feet back out. We're gonna talk about reflexology.
Oh, I have to put my feet back out?
Yeah, put your feet back out. We're gonna talk about reflexology. So reflexology is about the different pressure points you have in your hands and your feet. You familiar with that?
Kinda.
Okay. So it's all about like zones. That's what they call them. Different zones, right? So let's say, for example, you're somebody who deals with migraines, right? There's a portion of your foot and your hand you can massage that can alleviate tension from that, right? And these spots are like mapped out like all over your body. What are your thoughts about that? Have you heard of it? Like, would it be something you would try?
I have heard of it, actually. Wait, what does it do though?
It it alleviates stress and tension to like various parts of your body.
And you just press down and...
So you apply pressure and you massage, and it actually will alleviate those tensions and things like that. So you can do it through acupuncture, acupressure, and through massage. Your thoughts about that? You don't know? I don't know. Right? Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. So in terms of that, when we get to this portion of the interview, I usually ask you about sensitivity. Okay. How ticklish do you tend to be?
Very ticklish.
Okay, when you get pedicures, are you ticklish?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a trick for you. Would you mind if we tried it to test it out?
What is it?
Okay, I'm gonna show you. I need to test to see, like, first of all, is it sensitive? And then first of all, I'll give you that trick to like test it out. Is that okay?
Yeah. Wait, what are you gonna do?
Just tickle you real quick, and then we'll see how it is. Okay. Don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Okay, put your feet down. Your legs down flat. Your legs down flat, and then stretch your feet out. Put your legs. There you go. And then toes up like this. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna start at the right. I'll work my way from bottom to top. Oh my God. Tell me and don't worry about laughing. You can laugh if you want. I'm working my way from bottom to top, and tell me which foot is most sensitive. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Oh my God, I'm gonna sweat.
1, 2, 3. Okay. Where do you feel it at most? Where do you feel it at most? Try to hold for 5 seconds. Okay.
Sorry.
No. You good. You good. You can move if you want, but just try to hold in there for 5 seconds. Okay. Tell me where it's most sensitive at. Okay. Is it here in the arch? Towards the top?
Yeah.
Towards the top?
Towards the top and the arch.
Top and the arch. Okay, now tell me if your left foot is more sensitive, okay? 1, 2, 3. And where do you feel it at the most?
It's the same.
Same? Do they feel the same?
Yeah.
Okay. Wiggle your toes. Tell me if you feel it more or less. Less?
Less.
Do you know why?
No.
So first of all, your mind's actively thinking about like doing something, right? So it's like a distraction, right? Second of all, your muscles are moving, so it can't pick up on the sensation. So there you go. When you go get pedicures, if you're somebody who's like violently ticklish, with like do the pumice stone or whatever, give your toes a little wiggle to help you out. Okay. Let's try the left. Tell me if it's the same thing. Wiggle. Less?
Yeah.
There you go. So let me get you to do a couple exercises, and this is going to be test dexterity, flexibility. Okay? So let me first get you to bend your toes over, make a fist. Tell me if you feel pain or discomfort while you're doing that. Is it easy to do, hard to do? Do you feel any pain?
Like, A little bit.
A little pain? Where do you feel pain at?
Like my pinky toes.
Your pinky toes feel like, okay. Do you do any type of stretches or anything for your feet?
No.
Okay. I got a trick for you that you can use to help you out. Let me get you to spread your toes and tell me if you feel pain or discomfort from that. Is that hard to do? It looks like it's kind of hard towards the end, right? Okay. Relax. Let me get you wiggle your toes for 10 seconds. Tell me if you feel pain, discomfort, cramping, anything like that. Just wiggle. Easy to do, hard to do?
Easy.
So this one's the easiest one to do, okay? So here's a trick for you, okay? And you can feel free to just kind of relax a minute. In terms of like stretching out those different muscles that you may have that are like tight. So like you said, your pinky toes, when you did this, like you felt pain. Take a golf ball or tennis ball. Roll your foot across it. It'll loosen up your muscles and those tendons that you have in the bottom of your foot. And practice some of those movements. Just doing this like every now and then definitely makes a difference.
Okay.
Cool? So let's wrap up the interview.
Okay.
In terms of my approach, coming up to you, asking you to do the interview, was it good? Was it bad? What were your thoughts about my approach?
It was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. In terms of the interview, right? Mm-hmm. Start to finish, did you see how everything was going in a line? Did it make sense? Did you learn anything new?
Yeah, you started off like asking if I knew, and then you kind of went in the topics and then explained everything. So yeah, everything makes sense.
Okay, cool. Did you learn anything new from the information? Like,
yeah.
So
I'm
medical
definitely
pedicures.
Yeah.
Exposure therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, you kind of knew about that, but we kind of like talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, wiggling my toes.
All right, so you learned that about pedicures, right? So something to help you out.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll ask, from a mental health standpoint, a life lesson you learned, some wise words somebody once said to you that you could share on my channel that could be helpful.
About anything?
It could be words you heard in the song and you're like, man, that resonates. I really like that. Anything.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah. I can always cut out any type of like pauses. Feel free.
That's a loaded question.
No, why?
No, because I'm like, I don't remember.
Okay.
Okay, any word of advice?
Yep.
What I've been living for recently has been to focus on yourself and everything else will follow.
I like that.
Yeah.
So like self-love,
self-care,
like,
just putting all your energy into yourself, and then everything else that's meant for you will follow.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you stopping to do this interview with us. I know it's not like the most easy thing to do. Trust me, even on this side, it may seem like I'm like completely comfortable, but I got like all these emotions like on the inside. So thank you so much. Appreciate you. And we hope you have a great one, okay?
Thank you.
All right.